Hey guys, welcome back to the Tukes and Tires YouTube channel. As always, I'm Zach, and this week we're going over everything I've bought so far for the C1 Chevelle, and we're even going to raid my junk pile for some used parts so we can get a motor put together for this car.
Hey, is that Timmy's?
Yeah, because we're in Canada. Okay guys, so you heard what we're doing. If you're new here, make sure you go watch the first episode on this. I am going to make a playlist of the C1 Chevelle, so the first episode would have been us actually going to pick it up. This episode, obviously, we're going to be going through parts, everything I've bought so far. We have a few parts in our little parts room that we have. Nothing too crazy, but they're pretty important to actually start making that car roll, so we're going to get that stuff. But obviously, we couldn't bring everything outside. Everything's still in boxes, so we're going to pull it out so we can show you guys what we bought and what the plan is here. But I'm going to start doing that and then come back to once we have everything unpacked. Look, Lacey's already wanting to get in the boxes. What? Yeah. Okay, so we got everything laid out here. Lacey is super excited to get into these boxes. Look at, she's just walking over everything. But we'll start from one end, work our way to the other. There's a lot of stuff to get through here, but, you know, all this stuff is cheap, Amazon or eBay stuff. I spent my money where it counted, but for other things, we just didn't, and we're going for it. That's the way we do this on the cheap, because I can't obviously spend the big bucks on everything. So, I wish I could. But, start with this used pile right here. This came with the car. We're going to be reusing the friction disc, the pressure plate, obviously for sitting for years. The springs went in it, so that's what we got to try to find in the parts room in the back. I think we got some stuff that we can make up for this. And if you guys haven't guessed yet what kind of motor we are building for this car, we're going to be building an LS, and we're going carbureted. This is my first time building a carbureted LS. Pretty much just wanted to try it out on something. And, you know, this is the perfect car to obviously try it out on. We want to try to keep it as much looking like a small block as possible, but I love LS engines, so obviously that's what we're going with. And I have an endless supply of LS parts, so it just seems fitting. So that's used stuff. This box is just filled with like a whole bunch of like miscellaneous stuff, so like bolt universal adapter things and universal whoop-de-doo hoses and other things. I don't know what's in there. But then we got this right here. This is definitely not a Holley knockoff intake. Don't read the label that it says made in China. This is quality stuff here. So this is just a single plane intake, super cheap. Fits perfect onto the motor. I tested it already on a block that I got. This is a Holley 850 double pumper. Mechanical secondaries. I'm hoping that it's going to be big enough because we are going to be putting a cam into the motor that we're building, so hopefully that's going to work. Lacey is just waiting patiently here for me to pet her. So yeah, hopefully that's going to work. We're going to be changing out the valley cover for this ICT billet one, so it looks, you know, pretty nice. Moving over to this section, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you would have watched us strip these valve covers, because these valve covers actually used to be black, and just from a glimpse of the picture that I could see on eBay, I could see that they were orange, and we ended up using some oven cleaner to strip the paint off the powder coat, and those turned out pretty wicked. Lacey, you're just blocking the view here, dude. Come on. So then we got here is this is some stuff for obviously the motor itself. Well, everything's for the motor so far, but Lacey, what's going on? These Amazon messed up. I actually ordered some really cheap push rods, and they sent me comp cam ones, so that's pretty cool. Got some upgraded valve springs. This is the brains of the operation for the ignition. Lacey, the people are trying to read the box, man. Come here. That's the brains for the ignition system. It came with everything in there. We're probably going to have to hook the laptop onto it because we're doing a cam. I don't know if the little switcheroo on here is capable of knowing, you know, cams or whatever. It says truck on there, so we're just going to turn it to that. Hopefully it works. So that's pretty wicked. We're going to be doing a video of obviously putting this motor together, so we're going to go into that more in depth in that video or when we actually get this motor in the car. But that's looking pretty sweet. Over here, Lacey's scrubbing her head up against all the oil pan stuff. I had a buddy actually give me this oil pan a while back. So thanks, Jordan. We're finally using it on something. We got this super cheap dipstick. That was $25. Don't know if it's any good. Got a gasket. We got the pickup tube. And we're going to be building a remote oil filter. And what I mean by building is because I'm too cheap to actually go out and buy the thing for the filter. We're going to be dissecting that oil pan over there to make the thing that screws on there. So I went to Princess Auto, had some hoses made up because this has dash 10 fittings on there. So I just got them make up some hydraulic lines for that. That's looking pretty sweet. Don't know if these fittings on the end here are going to work. That got screwed in there, but we're going to find out when we go to make that. Obviously, probably in the motor video, but that's oil pan stuff. The box underneath that we're not opening. That's just a complete gasket kit for an LS motor. You know, you get the gist of that. Right here, we got, these are super cheap headers. They were $150 with free shipping to the door off of Amazon. They say that they're 1 3/4 tube. Measuring them with a dial caliper says otherwise, but can't complain with the price. Came with all the hardware and all the gaskets, so that's going to look pretty cool in the motor. We're going to be running a 2010 Camaro water pump. I still have some ICT billet brackets coming, so hopefully that's going to work. This one in the box here is just a, this would be a power steering delete kit for truck spacing, because that water pump still uses truck spacing, which is pretty nice, but it's throwing our top radiator hose as far over to the right as possible, which works out pretty sweet for this aluminum rad that we picked up. And super cool what they built with this car. So obviously I've been doing a whole bunch of looking on the Chevelle, and they ended up using a lot of, I think it's 63 to 65 C10 parts. So the rad and the mounts that they made were for that era of truck. So I ended up just buying this super cheap aluminum radiator offline, or online, on eBay. I think that was, I don't remember how much money that was, but it was pretty cheap. It's got like, it's like a 3-row, super thick unit there. So that should keep this motor cool. What else we got here? I think the last thing in this pile of these motor mounts, these are like a universal mount, and we're going to be cutting them up to work. I want to make the motor solid mounted, so it's got the old, it would be like a small block Chevy mount where this is like 2.5 inches in between. You're just friggin' climbing on everything, Lacey. Holy friggin' Toledo. But what we're going to end up doing is we're just going to chop this ear off here, and we're going to move it over. So this is only 2.5 inches or whatever it is supposed to be. So we make those solid mounted. Hopefully that will work out. We're going to do that once we get the motor pulled out and get those worked out. Hopefully they're going to work. So I think that's everything that we got so far for this unit. So now we're going to go to the parts room we got out back. We're going to show you the motor that we're going to be using, and hopefully we can find just the other few stuff that I'm looking for. This is a pretty good pile so far. There's still more stuff coming in the mail. I even got some wheels coming in the mail. But let's go to the parts room and grab that other stuff, and we'll show you the motor. Okay guys, so this is our parts room here. It's pretty messy, but we got it organized in our brains so we know where everything is. But, you know, if you don't move anything, you remember where you put it, so that way you can find it later. So that's the logic me and Dad are going on. But yeah, so this is one, you know, row of my LS motor stuff or whatever. We got lots of stuff everywhere. But this is a motor for another project right here. This is actually for the 56, so I'm already stacking up parts for that car. This is the motor that we're going to be using. This is a 6-liter truck block, so it's, you know, nothing fancy. We're going to fire it up. Fuel injection so I can hear it run. I've never heard this motor run. I got it for free. Actually, well, kind of free. We had to pull it out of the truck that it was in, but I didn't have to pay anything for it, so that's all right. So that's the motor we're going to end up using. I think I got yeah, I was in here the other day kind of messing around, pulling stuff out. Lacey loves to climb in the junk. But, yeah, what are you doing? Yeah. But, you know, we got miscellaneous other 6-liter and 4.8 stuff here and other stuff over there. Lots of stuff everywhere. But this is what we came here for. What do you need? Yeah. But this is what we came here for. So this is identical, exactly the same pressure plate that was in the car. So we're going to use that. It still has some life in it, I think. Hopefully it's going to work good enough. And then this right here, I've had this sitting around for a while. This is a flywheel out of a truck that had, I'm pretty sure it was a 5.3, and this is a truck flywheel, metric, I don't know. But this should work with that friction disc, but we're going to pull this stuff out, we're going to bring it over to the pile and see if it lines up, but we'll meet you over there. Okay, so you can see that we got it pulled out here, and you can see that this old style pressure plate actually fits onto the metric flywheel, so that's pretty cool. I got some bolts started in there, and for anybody curious what the part number is, that's what it is right there, if you can read that. They actually come up saying that they're body bolts. No idea, but that's what other people said that they've used in the metric flywheel, so I'm just going with that, so that's going to work. But this is looking like a pretty good haul so far. If I have anything else to add, I will do it now. Okay guys, so a couple days have went by and I waited to see if anything else would come in the mail, and we got a few things. We're going to start with the small box here, and we're going to leave the good thing till last. I have one more thing supposed to show up, a alternator bracket, but you guys will see that in the next video when we're bringing that crusty motor out of the parts room and building it into something pretty sweet. But thought we'd start with this here. This is we got extended wires, so like plug wires. We're going to be hiding the coils behind the dash in this car so we don't have them in the engine bay and it looks nice and clean. We got a stud kit for my oil pan, and then there's some little bits in there to make the alternator work, because obviously the LS series box will not control the alternator, so we just have to make it work like it's like a 1-wire alternator, and that's going to work out perfectly fine. But this other package that we got here that I'm going to show you in a second has to do with the wheels. And obviously I want to keep this car as close to its roots as possible, so I want to have 2 sets of wheels. So I want to keep this dirt set because they have some crazy offsets, like on this side here where the tire hangs way out, and then, you know, these wheels have the 3/8 rod welded in them, and I really like that. I don't want to change anything about them. We are going to get the bolt pattern change because I'm going to be changing this car to 5-on-5, and I'm going to probably put a 9-inch in the rear in this car. We're going to leave this rear end for now, but just change the bolt pattern, just for ease of being able to get spare tires and such like that. When we want to drive this car on the road, I can have just a small spare and not worry about trying to get a tire for all the sides. But obviously that I want to have an asphalt set for this car where all the tires are going to be even. I wanted to get something that looked as close to these as possible, but you know, that we don't mess up these ones, because I want to keep this as original as possible to this car. So I had these shipped all the way from Virginia because I couldn't find anything local, but these are as close as what I could find to a vintage dirt track wheel that was available like now. So these are some crazy offset. We are going to get these cut because, like I said, I didn't want to cut those ones up to change them. But there's 2 different sets here. There's a 14-inch wide and then 15-inch wide, but the offsets are different. So they just, it's 9 to the face, and then these ones are 10 to the face. So they're pretty crazy. Tires are all even. They're 28 tall by 15, obviously 15-inch rim. We're not going to be throwing this big of a tire on the car. I'm going to do something a little bit smaller just to keep it a little more tame. Probably something close to the size of the tire that's on the front here. But I just wanted to find a rim that had the look and the rust, because obviously I'm keeping this car patina. I'm probably going to splash some gray onto this, leave them outside and rust so it matches to what's on this car. But that way we have 2 sets of wheels. We have the asphalt set and we're going to have the dirt set. So that's super cool because I still want to run this thing on the track no matter what, even if it is a road car. It's just cooler if you drive it to the speedway. But that's it for now for this video. Stay tuned for next time. We're actually going to be building that motor. Hopefully we can get all the parts that we need. I actually have my buddy showing up today that's going to do some welding for me for a custom little piece that we're making. But you guys will just have to stick around till the next episode, or the next video I should say, and we're gonna have some fun. So make sure you follow along with the C1 build. Go watch the first video if you haven't watched that. Super cool us picking it up. But it's cold out here. I'm gonna go into the shop and warm up. But we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. But as always, don't forget to salute the beaver.